Elvis Presley walked into the Sands Hotel at 3 a.m. His face was stone, his fists were clenched, and he had one question. Where's Priscilla? What happened in the next 10 minutes would almost destroy the friendship between two of the biggest legends in music history. And the truth about that night? It's more shocking than anyone imagined. August 1967, Las Vegas. Elvis Presley was performing at the International Hotel. Frank Sinatra owned a piece of Sands and treated it like his kingdom. And Priscilla Presley, Elvis's fiancée, was the most beautiful woman in Vegas. The trouble started innocently enough. Elvis was doing 2 shows a night, exhausting performances that left him drained. Priscilla would watch from the audience, then wait backstage while Elvis recovered. It was boring for her. She was 22 years old, stuck in a hotel room most nights while Elvis slept. So when Frank Sinatra invited Elvis and Priscilla to a party in his penthouse suite after one of Elvis's shows, it seemed harmless. A chance for Priscilla to socialize, meet people, have fun. Elvis said yes. But here's where the story gets complicated. Because on the night of the party, Elvis was too exhausted to go. He'd done 2 shows, sung for 3 hours total, and his voice was shot. He needed rest. Go without me, Elvis told Priscilla. Frank's expecting you. Have a good time. Priscilla hesitated. Are you sure? I can stay here with you. No, go. Enjoy yourself. I'll be fine. So Priscilla went to Frank Sinatra's penthouse. Alone. To understand why this was dangerous, you need to understand Frank's reputation. By 1967, Frank Sinatra was 52 years old and had been married 3 times. His relationship with Mia Farrow was falling apart, and Frank had a well-known weakness for beautiful women, especially young, beautiful women. Frank was also competitive. He respected Elvis's talent, but there was always an edge to their relationship. Elvis represented the new generation, rock and roll, youth. Frank represented the old guard, sophistication, class. They were polite to each other, but there was tension underneath. And now Elvis's fiancée was at Frank's party. Without Elvis, the party was small, maybe 20 people. Rat Pack members, a few actresses, some Vegas high rollers. Priscilla knew some of them from previous events. She felt comfortable at first. Frank was the perfect host. Charming, attentive, making sure Priscilla had a drink, introducing her around. Nothing inappropriate, just Frank being Frank. But as the night went on and guests started leaving, the group got smaller. By midnight, there were only about 6 people left. By 1 a.m., it was down to Frank, Priscilla, and one other couple. Then the couple left, and Priscilla was alone with Frank Sinatra. What happened next is where the stories diverge. There are 3 versions of this night, and the truth probably lies somewhere in between. Version 1, Frank's version, which he told to close friends years later. Nothing happened. They talked, had a few drinks, and Priscilla left around 1:30 a.m. Frank was a gentleman. The whole scandal was manufactured by gossip columnists looking for a story. Version 2, Priscilla's version, which she hinted at in interviews but never fully confirmed. Frank made a pass at her. He was charming but persistent. He told her Elvis didn't appreciate her, that she deserved someone more sophisticated. He tried to kiss her. She rejected him politely and left. Nothing physical happened, but it was uncomfortable. Version 3, the version that circulated through Vegas that night. Frank and Priscilla were alone for over an hour. They were seen on the balcony together, very close. When Priscilla finally left, her makeup was smudged, her hair was messed up, and she looked upset. And someone, a hotel employee, claimed they saw Frank straightening his tie as Priscilla rushed out. Which version is true? We may never know. But here's what we do know. Someone told Elvis about it. Elvis was asleep when Priscilla got back to their suite around 2 a.m. She didn't wake him. She got into bed and tried to forget about whatever had or hadn't happened with Frank. The next morning, Elvis was in a strange mood. Quiet, tense. Priscilla asked if something was wrong. Elvis said no, but something was definitely wrong. That afternoon, Elvis got a phone call. It was one of his Memphis Mafia guys, the group of friends and bodyguards who traveled with Elvis everywhere. "Boss, I need to tell you something." People are talking about last night, about Priscilla and Sinatra. Elvis's entire body went rigid. What are they saying? They're saying Priscilla was alone with Sinatra in his suite for over an hour. They're saying things look pretty cozy. Elvis hung up without saying another word. He turned to Priscilla. What happened last night with Frank? Priscilla's heart sank. Nothing happened. Elvis, we just talked. For over an hour? Alone? Other people were there at first. They left. Frank and I talked for a little while. Then I came back here. What did you talk about? I don't remember. Music, movies, nothing important. Elvis stared at her. He didn't believe her. Or maybe he did believe her, but didn't care. The perception was what mattered. People were talking. People thought something had happened. And in Elvis's world, that was almost as bad as something actually happening. I need to talk to Frank, Elvis said. Elvis, don't. Nothing happened. There's nothing to talk about. But Elvis wasn't listening. He picked up the phone and called the Sands. He asked for Frank Sinatra's suite. Frank wasn't there. Elvis left a message. Tell Frank that Elvis needs to see him. Today. A few hours later, Frank called back. Elvis, what's up? We need to talk. In person. About what? You know what? There was a pause. Then Frank said, okay, come to my suite at 8. Elvis showed up at exactly 8 p.m. He brought 2 of his Memphis Mafia guys with him. Big guys, ex-military, loyal to Elvis above everything. Frank answered the door himself. Elvis, come in. Elvis walked in. His guys stayed by the door. Frank poured himself a drink. Want one? No. Frank sat down. Elvis remained standing. So what's this about? Frank asked, though he clearly knew. You know what this is about. My fiancée was alone with you last night. Frank nodded. Yeah, she was. We had a nice conversation. That's all? That's all, Frank said. What else would it be? Elvis took a step closer. I'm hearing stories, Frank. Stories about you and Priscilla on the balcony. About her leaving looking upset. Frank's expression hardened. Elvis, I don't know what you heard, but nothing happened. Priscilla's a lovely girl. We talked. She left. End of story. Elvis stared at Frank for a long moment. You expect me to believe that? I expect you to trust your fiancée. Frank's voice had an edge now. If Priscilla says nothing happened, then nothing happened. Unless you don't trust her? It was a challenge. Frank was essentially calling Elvis's jealousy into question, and Elvis wasn't having it. I trust Priscilla, Elvis said. It's you I don't trust. Frank stood up. Now his voice got cold. Careful, Elvis. You're in my hotel, talking to me like I'm some punk. I respect you, but don't push me. Or what? Or you'll find out that I'm not as easy to intimidate as the guys you push around in Memphis. The room went silent. Elvis's bodyguards tensed, ready to move. Frank didn't flinch. Then Elvis did something unexpected. He smiled, but it wasn't a friendly smile. It was a smile of someone who'd made a decision. You're right, Frank. I apologize. I shouldn't have accused you of anything. Clearly, nothing happened. Frank relaxed slightly. No hard feelings? None, Elvis said. He walked to the door, then turned back. Just one thing, Frank. What's that? Stay away from Priscilla. She's mine. And I don't share. Elvis walked out before Frank could respond. After Elvis left, Frank poured himself another drink. One of his friends who'd been in the next room came out. That could have gone badly, the friend said. Frank shrugged. Elvis is jealous. Can't blame him. Priscilla's beautiful. Did something happen last night, Frank? The friend asked. Really? Frank smiled. That's between me and Priscilla. Which, of course, was not a denial. Over the next few days, the tension between Elvis and Frank was palpable. They ran in the same Vegas circles, performed in the same hotels, knew the same people. Avoiding each other was impossible. At one event, they were both present. Elvis walked in, saw Frank across the room, and their eyes met. Frank raised his glass in a toast. Elvis nodded curtly and turned away. People noticed. The 2 biggest stars in Vegas, barely acknowledging each other. Rumors intensified. Something had definitely happened. Priscilla was caught in the middle. Elvis questioned her repeatedly about that night. What did Frank say? What did you talk about? Why were you alone with him? Priscilla maintained her story. Nothing happened. But Elvis's jealousy didn't fade. The strain affected their relationship. Elvis became more controlling, more possessive. He didn't want Priscilla going anywhere without him. He didn't trust her around other men, especially older, sophisticated men like Frank. In some ways, whether anything actually happened that night was irrelevant. The perception had done the damage. Elvis believed something could have happened, and that was enough to poison the trust. Elvis and Priscilla got married in May 1967, about 9 months after the Frank incident. But friends said the marriage was trouble from the start. Elvis's jealousy, his controlling behavior, his constant touring. Priscilla felt trapped. They divorced.